Over the last few years, Cobra have become a serious consideration when buying a brand new driver because they have continued to make great products. In this video, you're going to see me test and review AEROJET, the brand new driver from Cobra 2023. Quick spoiler alert, they're very, very good. However, I really think Cobra missed a massive opportunity this year that would have made them much, much better. So here we have them, Cobra AEROJET. There's 3 drivers in the lineup, and I'll tell you in a moment why they all are different to each other. But let me tell you a little backstory. Cobra, over the last few years, have seriously upped their driver game, certainly since the incredibly successful Cobra F9. Now, since that launch, they've also had 2 athletes, 2 Cobra ambassadors, who have put their insight into these drivers. One of them being the longest player on tour, Bryson DeChambeau, and the other is one of the longest drivers of the golf ball ever, Kyle Berkshire. Now, with their input, Cobra have made these drivers this year incredibly fast, apparently. Now, the big story is aerodynamics, obviously hence a bit of this AEROJET name. The design of the heads are helping you and all golfers swing these drivers faster. I'll test that in this review. Now, the 3 in the lineup, you've got the AEROJET Standard, you've got the LS version, which is the low spin, the weights are more forward, and then you've got an AEROJET Max, which has a weight at the back and also one in the heel, so you can make it a little bit heel bias to stop it leaking off to the right. Now, the actual club heads look really good this year. I mean, they've gone kind of a bit of an American theme on the colours with the red, white and blue, and obviously that translates into the head cover as well, which, by the way, is very nice and very premium. But they're also quite safe for Cobra. Like, they're not super flashy. Bit of carbon on top with a slight bit of gloss, which actually does look really good. Carbon underneath. And to be honest, that's pretty much it from the actual visuals. They've got this kind of multi-composite finish here on top. And there's one thing that I've definitely noticed. This cutaway here on the corner, which connects where the hosel goes in. I don't know why. Don't know why they've done it, this kind of triangular section. It's not my favourite. It kind of sticks out, and certainly when you put the club behind the ball, it's not the best thing. My eye kept getting drawn to it, and there's definite feeling that you almost want to set this club face more open at address with that little cutout. So that's definitely something to note. And another thing, before I come on to the technology, you'll notice something missing from these Cobra drivers. CNC milled face. Now, Cobra have talked about this for so long over the last few years. It's their big story, how they can make the face as fast and efficient as possible. It's gone from AEROJET. Now, Cobra are claiming they don't need CNC milling this time because they've brought out Power Shell Hot Face. Yeah, where this face is now faster, more efficient, better energy transfer, so you're going to get more ball speed. And they've done that by a thickening and thinning of the club face behind, so it makes now 15 hot spots across the face. So even if you're not hitting it in the middle, apparently it's still fast. They've also introduced a power bridge, which is a 13-gram suspended bridge which sits along the bottom of the head, which, to be honest, I'm actually glad they've done that this year, Cobra. My biggest critique about Cobra drivers is off bottom hits, they've always felt terrible. Well, with that power bridge, I must admit, hitting these drivers, they do feel slightly better. It's a bit similar, I'll use that word carefully, to what Callaway have done in their driver lineup with Jailbreak. It's the same kind of shaping, but instead of going from top to bottom, it's now going from toe to heel. So that's all the tech. Time to get it on the golf course and give it a test. And I focused my attention on the AEROJET and the AEROJET LS. I went over to JCB and just hit loads and loads of shots. I started with AEROJET to start things off on the first hole, which, by the way, is a very, very daunting first tee shot. First shots ever with this AEROJET, and I was very impressed. I was. A couple of things I noticed. The sound was phenomenal. Like this really satisfying crunch off the driver face. They've got the sound nailed on. Again, visuals behind the golf ball looks good. I love that carbon finish. I just don't like that cut around the hosel. It just doesn't look very nice at all for whatever reason. It doesn't really put you off. I just couldn't stop looking at it. But overall, for the first bit of testing with the AeroJet, I stood on a few tees and hit a lot of shots. I was very, very impressed. I also hit some shots on a drivable par 4, which requires accuracy and distance. Well, I must admit, I hit some unbelievable shots. What I found with the standard AeroJet, it did feel fast. I've got no data just yet at that point. I've got some now. It did feel fast when I was swinging it. And there was definitely a tendency for the AeroJet to leak a little bit to the right. I almost missed nothing to the left with standard AeroJet. And actually, I hit this shot into the green and knocked it in for, I kind of classify it as a testing eagle. It wasn't a real eagle. Moving on to LS. Now, head shape, looks behind the golf ball, looks totally the same. There's a little bit of difference in the actual dynamics of the head, actually, when you look at it close up, but not really that much difference in its kind of playing position. LS, really light. The biggest difference between the two drivers, with standard, the weight's at the back, this 12 gram weight is at the back and that's it. With LS, you've got two at the front, a 12 gram weight and a 3 gram weight, so that centre of gravity has been pushed further forward. I'll come on to that weighting in a little bit later. LS version, very good. Same satisfying sound, and I'll be honest with you, didn't see a great deal of difference. You could argue that the LS version, this lower spin version, off those slightly off-centered hits maybe didn't perform quite as good, but overall on the golf course, very, very impressed. I could definitely play either of these two drivers from what I saw on the course. Then it was time to get testing. I went to Tour X, GC Quad, hit loads of shots with all three drivers. Now, normally, if you've seen my drive reviews, I swing at about 110 miles per hour, which I wanted to monitor if these made any difference with its new aerodynamic shape. I normally have ball speed around about 160 miles per hour, carry the ball 280 yards with around about 2000 RPM spin. AeroJet first. Well, distance-wise, it improved. I was carrying the ball with AeroJet standard 285 yards, getting, I must admit, a little bit under 160 miles per hour ball speed, but because of the launch and the spin, I was getting that really nice distance. With LS, I was carrying the ball a total 1 yard further than that, 286 yards. Very similar spin, very similar ball speed. It, again, backs up what I saw out on the golf course. Both, however, from testing, I saw had pretty good dispersion. Like, there wasn't a great deal difference in flight. I wasn't hitting them massively right and left. Good level of forgiveness. Like, they were good distance, good sound, good looks, good dispersion. Like, ticking a lot of boxes. And that's why I said at the start of this video, kind of spoiler alert, they are really good. What was interesting, before I come on to the max in a minute, what was interesting, I did notice some club head speed improvement. Now, when I say some, I mean a grand total of 1 mile per hour. I was swinging, certainly standard AeroJet, at 111 miles per hour, which is fast, on the fast side for me anyway. So far, so good. Max version, again, the Max maybe isn't suited for me. Behind the golf ball, again, it has a very similar profile to these other two heads, but you've got a weight at the back and a weight in the heel. I found that one to be a little bit of an odd one. It didn't, for me, carry as far, carried at 274 yards, and I had all these drivers in the same loft, same shaft. It spun a little bit more, but I must admit, I found it a little bit harder to hit straight, which is weird because that should be the Max version. For whatever reason, I just couldn't get on with it, certainly in testing. Now, before I come on to my really interesting take that I genuinely believe Cobra should have done this year, this lineup, I think they missed a massive trick. Let's talk price. £429 for the driver. A little bit cheaper than your TaylorMades or your Pings or your Callaways, but definitely Cobra have hiked up the price a little bit over the years since the super popular F9 driver, which was about £350. Now, brings me quite nicely onto my final point. F9, and you've heard me talk about the phenomenal driver, the F9, for many years. Every time I have a new Cobra review, I talk about the F9 because it was so, so good. I think this year, Cobra could have bettered the F9. I do. I really do. And they missed one vital point. This year, Cobra didn't need 3 drivers. It absolutely didn't. You saw that from the results. Like, that max one for me certainly didn't work, but I just don't think you need it. If they had just one driver this year, like the F9, that was just one driver. If they just had the COBRA AEROJET this year and priced it a little bit lower than £400, they would have crushed it. And it, for me, and I'm sure I don't know enough about Golf Club Engineer, but these two are so similar. Why did they not just take the AEROJET, which has already got a weight at the back, and put 2 similar sized weights in the front, the same size weight, sorry, in the front? Then you've got the option to put the weights at the front if you want low spin. If you want more forgiveness, put the heavy weight at the back. If you want it to be a little bit more draw biased, stick that weight in the heel, or fade biased, stick it in the toe. And with this idea of mine, there's 3 main advantages for you, the golfer. Number 1, it makes the buying and fitting experience of a new driver much simpler. You've not got 3 choices, you've got one that does everything. Number 2, with the 3-weight system, you've got a driver that evolves with you. Let's say you've got a massive slice and you buy the max version to help with that massive slice, but over time, maybe 6 months down the line, you're now hitting a hook. You've kind of fixed that slice. Well, you want a driver then to be able to adjust and adapt. And with the 3-weight system, you've got that option, which I think is much simpler and easier for you as a golfer. And my final point, number 3. Imagine if Cobra only had to manufacture 1 driver as opposed to 3. Surely there's got to be cost benefits for that. Surely it's got to be cheaper just making 1 driver compared to 3 different cast heads. Therefore, you'd like to think they would pass that saving on to you as a golfer to keep that price point under £400. They missed a big chance of doing that this year. COBRA AEROJET, they are good. It could have been the successor of the F9. They were close, but not quite. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Be sure to subscribe to my new review channel, which will be starting very soon. And we'll see you next time.